What drug did you take once and thought nope, never again? I was a senior in high school when Hurricane Katrina hit. Our house got 6 feet of water. No fun. But one night my friends and I went to the gutted out house to smoke some marijuana out of a buddy's hookah. Buddy failed to inform us he had recently glued the bowl back together. Well, the crew lost composure. 2 people fell off the dock into the bayou, and everyone started panicking that they'd get hypothermia. Not gonna happen during Louisiana summer. So people leave. I drive a group to our next spot. My Pontiac's on fire is now a spaceship. My buddy riding shotgun started cackling hysterically, yelling about rattlesnakes in the road. We don't got those. And the 2 in the back were talking about magic or some shit. We couldn't make it to our destination due to freaking out. So went to hang out in a grocery store parking lot till we regained composure. 10/10ths would not smoke glue again. Crack. It was too good. I get the hype. Salvia. It's a very short trip, but I felt so much physical discomfort, like my whole body was being shoved into a box, despite the fact that I was sitting in the grass with a group of friends. Apparently it's not an uncommon side effect of the drug. Topiramate, Topamax. A drug used to treat migraines and seizure disorders. I started developing a couple of the less common side effects, including facial numbness/tingling, visual disturbances, and most concerning to me, aphasia. The scariest thing about the aphasia is that it can be permanent. Sorry, but I'll deal with the headaches, which weren't even migraines, just a stress phase I was going through, and keep my words. Thanks. Not a drug, but I was told I needed to take a fiber supplement, and went with the fiber pills. Then I went to the emergency room because I felt like I couldn't breathe within a few minutes of taking them. Fiber pills swell up easily with water, so they can end up feeling like they are sealing your throat. I now take fiber gummies and actually enjoy having a little treat every day. Oxycontin. Shit was too relaxing and didn't last long. I had knee surgery and they gave it to me for the pain. I took it for a week, and when I wasn't on it, I really wanted more. After a week of it, I never wanted to touch that shit again. For me, meth. I did it once under the presumption that it was cocaine. It was not. I had to go to the hospital. I mean, I probably didn't have to, but at the time, I had only smoked weed. I didn't know how to deal with the increased heart rate and paranoia. For my friend, Benadryl. He is a really hardcore tripper and can handle inhuman amounts of psychedelic substances. But he said that the one drug he would never do again was Benadryl. He said that his experience had lots of spiders. Ambien. Woke up in my underwear on my neighbor's porch. My girlfriend was having trouble sleeping, and her doctor gave her a prescription for Ambien. First couple of nights, no problem. Then I wake up one night and find her in the kitchen. All the burners on the stove turned on full. Semi-lucid. She said she wanted to make soup. I managed to get her back into bed. 2 nights after that, I wake up to find her out in the garage. In the car, engine running, wearing just a pair of knickers. Said she needed to go to Albertsons because we didn't have peanut butter. She quit taking Ambien after that. For me it was coke. I'm a broke bitch, so after spending $80 for maybe an hour's worth of a high, I very quickly learned why it's called blow. You can blow through it and all your cash in a few days tops. Glad I got off that shit quick. Wilder ruined me. Muscle relaxants. Worst cramps I've ever had when the drug stops working and you realize you have cramping muscles at the soles of your feet and between all your bones. Tetracycline. Turns out I'm allergic. Heroin. Too good. Knew it'd get its claws in me if I did it a second time. Some people say it's like a whole body orgasm. Is that true? I wouldn't say that. If a sneeze is 5% of an orgasm for a fleeting moment, heroin is 30-50% of one for a couple of hours. Meth. Did some once thinking it was coke. Spent 2 days strung out and horny as hell. Never again. Percocet. It was in liquid form. I can totally see how people get addicted to that stuff. It's like a few minutes later the world turns into a beautiful place and your problems disappear. Benadryl. Took around 7 to 800 milligrams, like 25 or 30 pills, a while ago to trip. Not a good recreational drug. It's like how people who don't do drugs imagine acid to be like. I'd actually vividly see things and people that weren't there. I'd see people come in the room I was in and sit next to me on the couch and I'd start having a conversation with them, only to blink and have them disappear. I'd get up and start filling up a cup of water and bam, it'd be back on the couch, never having gotten up. I don't remember most of the night, but my friends said I was just in a complete different world. They had some funny stories from it though. Apparently at one point I pulled my pants down and just said "It's in my pants." The two thing I've taken from this thread is that salvia is the worst drug out there, and that realizing you want more of a drug is instantly the reason to never do it again. My dad gave me a Dilaudid he had left over from his hip surgery because I had a sore neck. I felt an almost overwhelming sense of euphoria. I knew I could never take another one. Was in the hospital and because of being a former practicing alcoholic for many years. After an especially bad week, I gave myself acute pancreatitis and was in the worst unending pain of my life. I genuinely wanted to die rather than keep feeling that way even a second longer. One hit of Dilaudid and I felt happier and better than I could fathom. I immediately and fully understood, even in the storm of that moment, why people can absolutely ruin their lives with painkillers. Meth. I've taken prescription Adderall nearly my whole life and I wanted to test all these people who told me you're just taking prescription meth. To say the least, I don't do either of them anymore. Trazodone for sure. I was in the hospital to get my heart fixed up and was having a hard time falling asleep. To this day no one is sure exactly what happened, if I was given too much or just had a bad reaction or what, but I remember laying there and thinking something wasn't right. I got up and just kinda wandered around trying to find a nurse. I was freezing, but pretty sweaty too, and couldn't really see or hear so well. And you know, that feeling when you bang your funny bone. My whole body felt like that. The weirdest part was I kept realizing, oh man, I'm in trouble, and would start to panic, but then a second later I'd sorta forget and feel so serene. I remember a nurse running towards me, but she looked like she in slow motion, like we were underwater kinda, and I knew I had something really important to tell her, but couldn't remember what it was. All I could think was how beautiful everything was. How the light was catching her hair and her sneakers squeaking across the floor sounded like a symphony. I remember smiling at her and just kinda slumping against the wall, and then everything went dark. I woke up hooked up to a bunch of monitors with a lot of worried faces standing around. My blood pressure had dropped down to nothing, and if they hadn't found me when they did I probably would've died. 6/10ths experience. It was very beautiful, but they made me chug so much yellow Gatorade, and to this day, that stuff makes me gag. Edit, glad/sad to hear I'm not alone in whack experiences. Trazodone. That being said, I'm the furthest thing from a doctor and, as far as I understand, my outcome was pretty rare. I've met a lot of people who've benefited from Trazodone for sleep/anxiety, and what happened to me was just sort of the perfect storm of drug sensitivity and underlying blood pressure issues. So talk to a doctor. Trazodone might be right for you, or kill you. Again, IDK. Salvia, no doubt. Xanax. Took a bar at a friend's house. All I remember was watching Game of Thrones at a friend's house. The next thing I know I'm at my apt and it's a day later. Wasn't a bad experience for anything, it was just alright and felt like a waste of time. Plenty of better drugs out there. That stuff is a devil. I used to like taking it before going to work. You blink an eye and your shift is over. Heroin. It was just too good. That fake weed stuff that was around a little while back. Thought I was going to die. So hot. My sister found me naked passed out in the bathroom with my face against the bottom of the toilet. This really bothered me. I'm not a germaphobe, but rather germ aware. You mean spice? That shit is ducking crazy. I got spiked with some and thought there was a spider in my throat. I did LSD twice a couple years ago. The first time was awesome and the second time was also awesome, but since then I just don't want to do it anymore. It's weird but I just don't. Even though I had very positive experiences with it, I just don't want to do it again. Ever again. I'm not sure why but it doesn't really bother me. If you're wondering, I waited about 2 months or so to do my second trip. But dextromorphin is something I did one time and will never touch again. When I had NHS I was a bit of a fiend and I went to the Walmart to get cough syrup off the shelf. Delsym orange. I did it with 3 other friends and it ducked all of us up. We couldn't walk right. Like it felt as if our legs were lagging behind our brain by a couple seconds. Eventually I threw up like 4 times. Don't remember if they did but I did. The euphoria was weak AF and the trip was really weird. I didn't take it intentionally. It was added to my weed without my knowledge. FKN angel dust. I overdosed on that shit. Most of them, other than high grade pot, most give me a dissociative feeling that I hate. Even prescribed painkillers, I stay on them for as short of a time as I can stand. Did acid once. Was on edge and slightly uncomfortable most of the time, but it was still overall enjoyable. Then a friend who was also tripping with us started to have a bad trip and it was really difficult to not lose it myself. Felt like I was very close to losing control. Thankfully everything ended up fine, but there's no way I'm doing it again unless I have access to Xanax. Kills the trip in 20 to 30 minutes. Hey, thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe.